Well, welcome to match day, guys. Yes, another massive, huge match day for Rangers as we travel to Rugby Park to take on Kilmarnock. You know what? It will be a more tricky game than the one we faced on Saturday. We will touch on that in this video. And tonight there is a full schedule of fixtures. These are the games that take place tonight. All kicking off apart from the one at 7:45. Aberdeen St Johnstone. You've got to think that Aberdeen probably will get the victory there. Celtic v Dundee. Like, as bad as they are at the moment, I just can't see them dropping anything against Dundee, who are not great. The Edinburgh Derby, Hearts v Hibs. Hearts will be looking to bounce back from that mauling they took from us. Kilmarnock v Rangers, our game at 7:45 at Rugby Park on that hideously horrible plastic pitch, which Philippe Clement talked about in another fabulous press conference from Big Phil today. The William Shakespeare of the Scottish League. And then rather inexplicably, the Sky Live game is Livingston-Motherwell. You know what? I know they've got to show teams a certain number of times, but Jesus, I mean, seriously, I don't know. I just beggars belief. With the other games that are taking place tonight, the Hearts Hibs game, for instance, even that lot against Dundee, you kind of wonder what Sky must be on to be showing Livingston versus Motherwell. I mean, that's a bad one, isn't it? That's a pretty bad one. And we look at the league, obviously going into tonight's game. Rangers sit top, 2 points clear of Celtic. Obviously making the fact that we do need a victory tonight even more important to maintain that gap between us and them. Kilmarnock sit fourth going into tonight's game on 40 points, unbeaten in their last five. On paper, in their form in the last five, they've played 27 this season, 10 wins, 10 draws, 7 defeats, 31 goals for, 27 against, a positive 4-goal difference. Their last defeat at home coming on the 2nd of December to Hearts. So tonight will be a game that will be tricky for Rangers. Of course it will. And look, I know that we have better players. I know we have a better manager. I know that we have better tactics, better squad, better synergy between the players and the fans and everything than virtually every team in Scotland. Of course we do. But I just, know tonight will be trickier. And there'll be a number of reasons why tonight will be trickier. Number one, that hideously horrible pitch, which we'll touch on with what Philippe Clement had to say about that. Also, the fact that Derek McInnes is infinitely a better manager than Stephen Naismith. He will have Kilmarnock bang up for this game tonight and extremely well organised, ready for the game tonight. We'll make it trickier. And Kilmarnock obviously are on a pretty decent run of results. Now, Philippe Clement did speak to the media yesterday, and there was some interesting points came out of that press conference. There was obviously the story about the professor and the body dynamics. If you haven't obviously caught that one yet, just go back and check it out. I don't really want to talk too much about that story, but it was a pretty incredible story that Philippe Clement told about how he got his player out of a 9-game ban by using body dynamics and a professor. Very interesting comment indeed. Mohamed Diomande also spoke to the media today ahead of the game. Certainly someone who had a very impressive start to his Rangers career. Big Phil did touch on Mohamed Diomande and did talk about the fact that he is a player capable of going on to great things and becoming a very, very talented player. On the game tomorrow, he spoke about it being, in his eyes, a difficult game. He says it's all about respect for the opponent, but also respect for yourself. He talked about having to adapt to meet the different demands of the conditions, but he said that obviously the main point and the main focus of his team will be the 3 points. He's right in what he says. He was talking about the pitch, and there were some great points he made about the pitch. Now, one of the things that really stood out from what he said today is that Kemar Roofe will not be available at all tonight. Why? Because his medical staff and his physios and himself have decided that given Kemar's injury history, he cannot be risked on that pitch. Which kind of does beg the question, doesn't it? Why are Kilmarnock and Livingston as well allowed to get away with using that horrible pitch, which, can cause injuries, that is not And if you look around Europe's top leagues in the EPL, in the Liga, in Serie A, all artificial pitches are not allowed; they are banned. So why is it in Scotland we allow Kilmarnock and Livingston to use these horrible pitches? Yes, I know there's plans to get rid of them, and good on them finally getting rid of this ridiculous pitch and this ridiculously stupid idea of playing a game on, well, let's face it, greengrocer's grass. What he said about the pitch in particular, he says the ball will move differently on artificial surfaces, and this will change the way you play slightly. It's what it is. What it is. We're going to have to get 3 points regardless of the pitch. He spoke a lot about the fact that you can't get your foot under the ball the same way, that the ball speeds up. It doesn't lose speed on this pitch. You've got to be a lot more precise playing on a plastic pitch. He talked about the fact that Rangers had obviously practiced on a plastic pitch. They had done some training today, yesterday, on a plastic pitch, and it's the only opportunity they've had to do so. Philippe said with obviously a game every 3, it is practically impossible for his team to get a lot of adequate time to practice. It really is. He can't get that time, because of the fact that after a game it's recovery and so on. He said he wants to play football with a lot of intensity, and because of that, he has to rotate the squad. He talked about the fact that that players don't want to be rotated. They want to play every game. They want to be involved in every game. He said that's a good thing, and it is a good thing that players do all want to be involved. And there are, a lot of positivity. There's a lot of positive points, I think, to squad rotation. Number one, it keeps everyone feeling they're involved. Number two, it lessens the chances of getting injured because muscle fatigue is reduced. Number three, Philippe Clement made a great point. He said at the end of the season, if you win trophies, nobody remembers if you played 65 games, 62 games, 47 games, or 32 games. At the end of the day, they only remember who won things. And that's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day, is who wins the trophies. He says, he hopes that people will remember his players not because of the number of games they played, but because of the fact that they were successful and they won stuff and they won titles. And that's the right attitude to have. At the end of the day, he is going to use this squad. He is going to rotate his squad, and I'll have a go at predicting. I'll give you my team for tonight. But look, at the end of the day, I can't predict it. I don't know what Philippe Clement's going to do. We know that Kamar Roof won't play. There's some doubts over whether Tom Lawrence may be used because of the pitch. But given our paucity of number 10s at the moment, obviously with Todd Campbell still out injured, Yanis Hadji on loan at Alaveth, there's a whole situation there around that. Who do we play and who plays where? So, look, that's a question that Big Phil will have to answer tonight. And look, no matter what team he picks, you've got to have faith in Big Phil that he will get his team selection right. He knows what he's doing. He's tactically astute. He's tactically aware. He knows how to pick teams to suit particular conditions, to suit particular teams that we're playing. And he even said himself, Killie have got a good record this season against the Old Firm. They've got a good record overall. Their home form, like the graphic I shared with you yesterday, they've got pretty good home form. They're averaging 2 points per game, unbeaten in the last 5 home games. At home, they played 14, won 8, drawn 4, lost only 2, lost only twice at home, which is pretty remarkable for Kilmarnock, to have only lost twice at home, and neither of those defeats coming to either of the Old Firm. And, the fact they've only won 2 away really does show how much they depend on their home form, how much they depend on how they play at Rugby Park. Like I said, shared with you yesterday, you look at the Rugby Park record, we've played there 50 times, we've won 39, they've won 6. There's been 5 draws mixed in with that. So, certainly there is a pattern there. Do tend to be successful, do we tend to win these games? But at the end of the day, it is going to be an awful lot tougher, I think, than the game was on Saturday, like I said, for the reasons that I have outlined to you. Kilmarnock will go into tonight's game fancying their chances. They will really, fancy that they have got the opportunity to do very well, in this game tonight. Like I said, their last home defeat coming on the 2nd of December. So they're no mugs. They are absolutely no mugs. And like I said, Derek McInnes will have his team set up and good to go tonight. You look at the formation they've used in the last few games. Certainly, this is their formation they used in the 2-0 victory over Aberdeen, a 4-4-2, a formation they tend to favour with two guys up the top, Vassell and Watkins, a midfield of the very talented Armstrong, Donnelly, Polworth and Kennedy, who scored the winner against Celtic. A back four of right Lewis Mayo, the former Rangers player, who again will be seeking to do well tonight. That's one of the things that he's going to be pushing for tonight. He wants to do well against his former club to show that we were wrong to let him leave, show that we were wrong to allow him to go from the club. And then obviously we've got Finlay and Ndaba, who is the left back, and Dennis in goal for Killie tonight. That is the Kilmarnock starting 11 from the game against Aberdeen the other day. So look, at the end of the day, is this game going to be easy for us? No, of course it isn't. Is this game going to be tough? Yes, it will be. Why will it be tough? Because Derek McInnes will have his team set up. He'll have his team prepared for tonight's game. And like I said, it's really difficult for me to sit here and pick Philippe Clement's 11. It really is. This is the team that I would go with. I think, you've got to look strongest 11. You've got to push as much as you possibly can. So Butland in goal, I think, is a given. Back four, again, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I don't feel you should mess with your back four. For me, you should try and keep your back four the same. So James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Suter, and Ridvan Yilmaz are my back four there. I'm going to go with Sterling and Lundstrom. I think tonight will be a scrap, a fight, a battle. I just think having those two players there that dominated the cup final, that ran the game, and given Dujon's excellent form, that's why I'm putting him in there. I'm going to put Diomande in the 10 role tonight. Why? Because he can go box to box, because he can link the play well. He can pass, he can play a killer ball. He's got an eye for a goal, an eye for a shot. And I just don't want to risk Tom Lawrence on this horrible pitch. You've got to really go McCausland and Cortez, because there are there are fewer options out there. I mean, you don't want to play Scott Wright because he's just been shocking. You can't play Matondo, it looks like, because he is still injured. So Cortez, who had a brilliant game against Hearts, has to come into the reckoning. Fabio Silva, for me, has to start up front. He's just a better all-round striker. His movement is good. He works the whole back four over. And again, against Kilmarnock, I think you can need to have a striker that pulls players all over the place and creates space for those runners from midfield, for Lunny, for Diomande, for Cortez, for McCausland. That is something we do need tonight. And I think Silva will do that a whole lot better than Cyril Dessers. Nothing against Cyril Dessers. I just don't think that's his game. And I think also, the fact that if we're following the pattern of recent weeks, it seems to be that Silva plays one game, Dessers plays one game, Silva plays, Dessers plays. That seems to be the pattern that Philippe Clement likes to follow with this team. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. What is your team for tonight? How would you line up your Rangers team against Kilmarnock at Rugby Park tonight? I'd love to know what your thinking is, what your predictions are for the lineup. The lineup tonight. Please get your teams in the comments down below. You look at the last few games between ourselves and Kilmarnock. The last time we met them, we won the game. That was at Ibrox. But previous to obviously that first game of the season where we lost to them at Rugby Park. And Philippe Clement did actually touch on that in his presser today, and he said, that was a completely different game. It's a clean slate. It's, at the end of the day, we have to wipe that out and forget about that. It doesn't have any influence over today's game. And I think that is definitely the right way to think about this game. It was a different manager. It was a different start to the season. And I think, the damage that Michael Beale did, the way that he set his team up, you can't hold that same team, that same thoughts on Philippe Clement and his Rangers team. They are a very, very different team to Philippe Clement's Rangers. So look, at the end of the day, I think we disregard that result. Yes, like I said, they have had some great success against the Old Firm this year. But look, at the end of the day, we've got to go out there and we've got to get that victory. Yes, we lost our last game at Kilmarnock 1-0, but you go back to the game before that in 2022, 2023, was a 3-2 win for Rangers at Kilmarnock. Prior to that, there was a 1-0 win for Rangers. There was a 2-1 reverse in 2019-2020. Prior to that, there was a 2-1 win for Rangers and another 2-1 defeat to Kilmarnock. And then another 2-1 defeat in 2018-2019 to Kilmarnock. So, in recent times, there has been a very mixed record against them. I think that obviously plays on a lot of Rangers fans' minds, that those defeats we've had. Even in 2017-2018, another 2-1 defeat to Kilmarnock, a 0-0 draw in 2016-2017, a 1-1 draw in 2016-2017, another game in that year, in 2011-2012, a 1-0 victory for Kilmarnock. And then in the Scottish Championship in 2011, there was a 5-1 win for Rangers. So, look, it's been a tricky place for us to go. We haven't perhaps got the results, but, like I said, this is a different Rangers team. We need to go there tonight, and we need to win that game. There is no chance to mess up tonight. It has to be a victory. Is a draw good enough? I suppose a draw is good enough in the aspect that it would put us all back square on points with them, because I do think they will win tonight. Realistically, between now and the end of the season, we need to win every single game. That's just the way it is. 11 games, 11 wins. This league title, no matter how bad they are, given how bad Scottish football is in terms of refereeing standards and in terms of other teams, I just honestly think this title race will go all the way down to the line. And I think obviously, therefore, we need to win every single game. Okay, prediction for tonight, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Rangers victory. Any win will do tonight, guys. Goals, I think the first goal this evening will come from Oscar Cortez, and I think we'll get a James Tavernier penalty to win it 2-1. Let me know what your predictions are in the comments down below. Anyway, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation Match Day News. As we look ahead to tonight's game, thank you for watching. As always, guys, if you've enjoyed the content, please smash that sub. And as always, on the way out, 2 things I ask of you. Number 1, smash the like. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.